Dr. Parmjit Pama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm taking a short call to support the Social Housing Reform Transaction Mandate Bill on its second reading. Mr. Speaker, the previous speaker demonstrated how narrow-focused he is. Mr. Speaker, I want to also acknowledge the Select Committee that did the work on this bill and want to acknowledge and thank all submitters for their contribution. As we heard that the Select Committee received 11 submissions, of which 8 were heard. Mr. Speaker, through those submissions, there were 2 main points that came through. One was around the overall housing issue, especially social housing supply, and that is a valid concern, Mr. Speaker, and that's why we need social housing reform program. And the second concern which came through was around transparency. And again, Mr. Speaker, that is a very valid concern because accountability and transparency of all processes that will be put through this bill is important to everyone. Mr. Speaker, this bill in the long run is to see that we are able to provide right type of houses and also that our housing stock is utilized effectively. So in the long run, this bill will make the actual difference, that is by ensuring that people, those who are in need, are housed in the right type of houses and also housed in a timely manner. And Mr. Speaker, listening to previous contributions, I have to say this regretfully, that this issue of social housing has become a political football. Yes, I do understand that this bill will enable transfer of properties from Housing New Zealand to community housing providers, but that is to support development of community housing providers. The social housing reform program is to see that we are able to house people in quality houses. It can be through Housing New Zealand, it can be through community housing providers. And as we also heard, Mr. Speaker, this bill is also based on evidence because 1/3 of Housing New Zealand's portfolio is of wrong type or is in wrong place. And moreover, Mr. Speaker, there are thousands of people on the waiting register. There are thousands of people, those who have applied for a transfer. The fact is that, Mr. Speaker, currently there are 62,000 households receiving income-related rental subsidy. And we have committed to increase that by 3,000 households by 2017-2018. And Mr. Speaker, the aim of this bill is that through Housing New Zealand and community housing providers, collectively we are able to provide more housing places. So it's a great bill, Mr. Speaker. I support this bill and commend this bill to the House. Thank you.